We have a Yoshinobu Yamamoto update. As we know, Yamamoto's been out the last few weeks with his strained rotator cuff. And now we have a concrete idea on when Yamamoto is going to suit up again for the LA Dodgers. Hey, this is Mike Nelson of Dodgers Digest. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the almost 13% of you that have already hit that subscribe button, the ones that are watching these videos. But 86% of you have not subscribed yet. You got to make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any big Dodger news. You know, right now, Yankees Digest, another channel in our company, is being us by a lot. We gotta jump the Yankees. You know, we are better than the Yankees, so make sure to subscribe to the channel because, you know, we're the best fan base in Major League Baseball, so let's prove it. So let's get right into it. As I mentioned, we now have a concrete report or a concrete answer from the Dodgers on when Yamamoto is going to be back in the starting rotation. That's going to be Tuesday night at Dodger Stadium against the Chicago Cubs. That's right. The Dodgers announced that just minutes before, a little less than an hour before today's game against the Angels in Anaheim, that just after 2 rehab starts in AAA Oklahoma City, Yamamoto is going to be coming back to the Dodgers and is going to be in a starter against the Cubs next Tuesday, who actually the Cubs picked up their first no-hitter at Wrigley Field today in 50 years. So, yeah, we're going to be facing those Cubs next week. And, you know, like Dave Roberts mentioned before the game today, he said that he thinks the stuff's going to be there. You know, he's not sure about the command, which is definitely concerning because the Dodgers, as we know, need a pitcher to be in command. They have not had that the last few days, to say the least, outside of the performance from Jack Flaherty and Walker Buehler last night. There hasn't really been a lot of command from the starting pitchers. But, you know, he wants to get, mentioned 4 starts. You know, some reports are saying 3 to 4 is what the Dodgers want to get for Yamamoto to kind of ramp him up for the playoffs. I mean, I think that's what everybody's plan is, to kind of ramp up this guy for the Major League Baseball playoffs that are going to be, of course, kicking off in, less than a month. That's right. In less than a month, the Dodgers will be hopefully playing in the NLDS and not play in the wild card round, in the NL wild card round. You know, that's the hope. Dodgers have a healthy lead right now. I wouldn't say healthy, but they got a pretty solid lead right now. 4.5 games ahead of the Padres, 5 ahead of the D-backs after today's disastrous loss in Anaheim. But, you know, pretty healthy lead, so the Dodgers are expected to, you know, be playing in that NLDS, and Yamamoto is hopefully going to be one of those starters on the playoff roster. Yes, you know, Yamamoto has not pitched since June 15th, not mistaken. I know it's June. Got that right, though. It's June. It's been a long time since Yamamoto has pitched with the Dodgers. So, you know, it's been, you know, a long time, almost 3 months. So there's a lot of question marks on what kind of pitcher, you know, we're going to get. You know, what does it mean for the Dodgers? What kind of pitcher are the Dodgers going to get? And, you know, unfortunately, the last few days and especially in the last start, right, the Yamamoto had with Oklahoma City, you know, 53 pitches over 2 innings, and he allowed 2 runs, you know, ran into some trouble in the first inning. That's obviously not good to see because, you know, you want to see Yamamoto dominate, especially in AAA baseball, because he's a Major League Baseball pitcher. He's signed for over $300 million a year. I mean, you don't want the guy running into trouble against the minor league baseball players. I mean, come on. And, you know, Yamamoto said through his interpreter, you know, the results didn't look good, but, you know, he feels like there were some good pitches, and he did all that he could do. I think at this point, you know, I think it's more than obvious that, you know, Yamamoto is probably not at 100%, and the Dodgers are kind of course, rushing him back. And that's due to the point that, you know, Look at where they are right now in terms of the rotation. You know, the Kershaw injury was big last week for them. You know, of course, you know, as we know now that he was injured prior to that start. You know, this is a lingering injury, the bone spur that he's dealing with. This is not like some new thing that just popped up in that game. So, you know, Yamamoto coming in is because of that reason. You know, the Dodgers are so banged up right now. You know, Glasnow. Also, it's undetermined. It's up in the air when he's going to come back, which is definitely concerning to say the least. And that's why the Dodgers in a way are kind of rushing Yamamoto back. That's really, I think, where the Dodgers are at right now. You know, in desperate need of pitching, starting pitching. Look at the weekend, how it went. I mean, outside of Flaherty, it was honestly a disaster when it comes to starting pitching against an elite team, right? We saw Kershaw didn't have a good start, got hurt. Gavin Stone, not very good. And then Robleski, we saw what happened there on Sunday. But Flaherty, kind of really saved the day for the Dodgers on Monday. Kind of was the first guy to really step up against a good ball club and had a really good game, right? And then, of course, Buehler last night had a pretty solid game against let's face it, a AAA baseball club. And that goes to my, next point. Bobby Miller, yikes. Wow, what a disaster. What an atrocious start against the Angels today. A game that your host, Mike Nelson, was at tonight. I was at the ballpark tonight at Angel Stadium. I've been to a couple Dodgers-Angels games. And to say the least, this was a really tough one to take in person as a Dodger fan because the Dodgers are basically out of this game in the first inning. Just a really, really bad start from Bobby Miller. This is obviously going to be up there with one of his worst of the year. Giving up 7 runs, 3 home runs. It was just a struggle. Yes, he had 8 strikeouts, but I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I really think Bobby Miller needs, like a lot of people have commented on the comments the last few days, and you see all around the internet. You just wonder if Bobby Miller is Major League Baseball material at this point. Is he actually, somebody that teams are going to be able to rely on? The Dodgers are trying to rely on him as a starting pitcher, and he just hasn't delivered. And this is another. Was this the final straw for the Dodgers in terms of, continuing to bring him out there to start? That's a big question because there's Knack that's waiting his spot to come up. Knack is he's knocking on the door. Knack is knocking on the door. That sounds a little funny, but anyway, he's ready to go. He wants to be part of this team. He wants to be a guy that the Dodgers can, of course, rely on. And Bobby Miller is not really somebody that the Dodgers are too confident right now. At least I'm not. As a Dodger fan, I think a lot of people agree with me. We don't really think this guy is a player that can be relied upon, especially in the playoffs, right? I mean, can you really give Bobby Miller a playoff spot come the NLDS? I mean, I don't see it. I mean, maybe he could turn it around. Maybe he can pitch his way out and kind of earn his spot in the next few starts if he gets that shot, because we don't know after this kind of start against a team that frankly is mainly a AAA baseball club with a lot of young players. The Angels are, at a point where the season is basically done for them, and they're playing a lot of their future, hopefully, talent for them, along with, of course, Anthony Rendon, one of the worst signings in baseball history. But, there's a few bright spots on their roster, but not too much, right? This is one of the worst teams in baseball. And for them to score 10 runs today, including 7 against Bobby Miller, it's absolutely unacceptable for the Dodgers at this time of the year. And, unfortunately, it attributes a lot to the pitching, right? I mean, I'm sure there'll be some fans out there that will blame the hitting for not coming through today, right? Ohtani not getting a base hit, and pretty much, the Dodgers getting completely shut down by Griffin Canning, who pitched his best game of the season unexpectedly against a very good Dodger team. But no, I think the pitching has a lot to do with it too. I think the bad starting pitching in the last few starts, and now today it was on full display. And it just catches up to you eventually, right? You just cannot put yourself in a hole night in, night out and expect to jump out of it with your, arguably one of the best lineups in baseball history. But it just, you just can't do it every night. And, being at the ballpark tonight, the Dodgers were out of it in the first inning. The fans were out of it pretty much throughout the game. There was a few moments where the fans kind of got into it, but nothing like Tuesday night. I wasn't there Tuesday night, but I could see that the fans were pretty loud, pretty into it. But today was a dud for sure for the Dodgers. And, yeah, tough to be there for sure. It was a hot night, to say the least, here in Southern California. For those that are out here in California, we're expecting some pretty hot weather the next few days. Make sure to stay hydrated. And if you were at Angel Stadium, I hope you stayed hydrated because it was definitely a hot one. Yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel, though, and let's go Dodgers.